So now I'd like to introduce back Damien Hirsh, who'd like to share with us a presentation. I'm really looking forward to this. Malifaux of Ningen, video story of behaviour. So please put your hand together for Damien.
Morning again. I'm sick of the side of me. Yeah, good to be here again. I've been working at Ningen over the last 4 years, just on and off for short periods usually, sometimes a couple of months, but sometimes just a few days visiting, checking on the adaptive management cameras as well as the mount cameras that I'll show you some videos of their activities on soon. But yeah, Ningen's in a pretty unique place to Malifaux have got it pretty good there really. They've got AWC bounding one side, White Wells on the other side, and Lake Munga on the northern side, and Lake Moore on the other side. So they're sort of contained within a really good region, and it's known to be one of the biodiversity hotspots. There's about 730 different plant species been recorded apparently there, and it's a meeting of bioregions. So it's a really pretty good land for them, it seems like. And they don't have most of the main threats are taken care of for them there, I guess. The fire has been looked after by Ashley and the family's good management of the place. Since 2006, it was made an IPA, the place where these particular Malifaux are living, but a lot of the station is also IPA for outstanding natural monument features, as well as protected area for conservation through management intervention. So 480 square kilometres of IPA. So it's a big area, and because they've been looked after well, the stock haven't been there for 20 years hardly. There's hardly been any sheep around, and the goats in more recent years have become hardly at all, thanks to the friends the dingoes, or some people's friends dingoes. So yeah, at the moment we have well, Ningen as well. It's always been a meeting area for people from way back. So these particular Malifaux, where they are located near one of the main meeting hills, they would have had a lot of visits and a few people grabbing their eggs over the years, I'm sure, as well as the main highway used to run right past the rock. So but they do have a decent fence around them, and people don't camp at the rock nowadays. They're away from there, so they're fairly well looked after as much as they can be, and they have roosting trees, and the plant life's in fairly good condition too. Lots of other animals living around too, so the overall health there is pretty good. So we have got 6 pairs active at the last season. That's up. Last year it was 5, year before 5, year before 3, and the year before 2. So they're gradually increasing, even though it's a slow increase overall, because they live so long. I guess that counteract, and they're really close proximity as well. There's only a few hundred meters between most of the active mounds. They're all contained within about a kilometre square, except for 1 or 2 on the top end. So they don't seem to mind living together, although there is a little movie later of a bit of fighting. Yeah, so you play that first movie there. Yeah, this camera's been on the mound for maybe 250 days total over the last years, but obviously not continual, and sometimes only in the night time just to catch predators. And it's lasted incredibly well, that camera. It's still functional today. It's sat out there through all this. So they're collecting their mulch obviously there. There's plenty of power in the legs, the way to throw the stick, snap that stick out the way. Something I've really noticed a lot is that they seem to always be together. I know that's not the commonly held belief. There's one mound that I call the cooperative mound, or love mound sometimes I call it, but that's because they're always working together just about every day. The male seem to come first, but then the female arrives not long after. They do a little greeting dance and get into the digging, and they seem to do that just about all the time. Sometimes in the evening the man's there by himself, but mostly the two of them They're working on it and putting the mulch into the mound there. And they take a few months turning that around before it gets to be a good nest. So I guess they'd be doing this about now in the bush, wouldn't they? Some of them, or already done it. Get it working a little place for it and testing temperature in it there. There's another week or so before they put the egg in. After that, they muck around with a lot before. And there's always one on the lookout for the other two, you know. It's very noticeable when one's down at the bottom of the hole, the other one will be standing up there keeping an eye out. But sometimes they can't see anything when they, especially at the cleaning out time. Yeah, that was the first egg of the season, that one, 2 years ago. But yeah, that camera's been watching that mound for a total of 250 or so days, and there's two other main mounds I've been watching as well with Ningen's other cameras, and them for about the same amount of days. And yeah, on all of them, I've noticed a lot that they do cooperate pretty regularly. Yeah, nice little nest, that one. Oh, yeah, this one's only a few hundred meters away from that other nest. It hasn't been active this year, but they behaved a bit differently. That's why, yeah, the other one was noticeably more working together. The male one on this one was more by himself, but I think he had intruders here. It's like 3 or 4 times over the morning this little battle was happening. He tried to grab him with his claw there. Savage. Only found 2 dead ones over the 4 years or so that I've been visiting that area. One of them had snapped legs at the bottom, which couldn't really figure out why. The bottom parts of the legs were snapped. Yeah, good savage. And this is one of the within the first month or so, there was a chick came out from this mountain, staggered down the. I think he's in here. Oh, these fellas, they often leave their scent there. You see them lift their tail and squirt a little bit of scent on the mound pretty often. And usually following the same pathway, I noticed, because I've had them on a few mounds, they seem to approach from the same area and leave by the same way pretty often. They've got their pathway. And that's a juvenile chick there, the only one that I really saw out of all of it. So the cats didn't really visit that regularly, about the same as they would have been on those 10 random cameras through the bush. They didn't noticeably show up at the mound more than them. There's that little chick. Yeah. So, yes, this is obviously cleaning out time of year. They spend months cleaning it out, continually making it more cratery and on and on and on. And that's when more cats seem to come around. Obviously, the smell, I'm thinking, from the scent of the eggs and whatever didn't make it, and they seem to visit more when it's like that. Dingoes hardly ever. I think I saw 3 dingoes total over all that time, like many hundreds of days if you count them all together. So, and you got a fright from the camera that most of the dingo disappeared for a second and then ran off. There's sometimes a little click from the cameras will influence them. But yeah, this is a total cooperation. They often doing that one will throw it to the other one's foot and do that, or they stand side by side and they totally cooperate, these two. So this one's on the sort of western edge of the thicket that they live in. They're all sort of living around the edge of the thick bush. And there's a clearer part in the middle with some good trees and sandy ground where they're often walking around. But they all, yeah, the mounds themselves concentrated in the fairly narrow thicket that borders. And that cat spent about half a minute in the bottom there. I just shortened it, so you didn't have to watch him waiting. But yeah, they have a good sniff around inside there. And same again, he comes the same direction and leaves the same way every time there. Oh, this one's interesting. I watch him here. I get a fright. So, and then a few minutes later, I think it was the crow that scared them. Getting their revenge a bit. They had a bit of a battle going with the crows. The crow was always there pecking around, picking out bits of shell and everything as well when it was cleaning time. So he's kind of doing them a favor, but they still had a bit of a war going. Let me coming back again, I think. One crow scared them both off. It's funny, that one, they walk back in the background and it's like they're trying to tell him, come on, let's go get him. But they don't. The crow seems to be in charge there. Nervous. And they're right in the background. There's 2 malifaux right in the back corner there. You can see they sort of move towards them, but they don't. Not game enough to go for the crow there. It looks like they're a bit worried of them. Oh, a little bit there. See? Yeah, lots of other animals went around there. Kangaroos were often standing, or sometimes standing on it, but more often grazing around the very edge of the bottom of the crater. I'm not sure what they find there, but they seem quite keen on nibbling around the bottom edges there. Down for that one. Oh, okay. There's another song one. Yeah, and nightjar, pretty often nightjar would perch up there in the nighttime and do his hunting. Hopping mice were really often scooting around the edges or had the burrow really nearby. Yeah, occasional wallaby and malifaux together there. Yeah, also bat sometime. Bat would trigger the camera. You can see them coming. But yeah, just about, I think every mound at least had hopping mice visiting it. Yeah, the bellbird and a few others obviously go there. It's a bit of a landmark in the bush, that little rise. I'm sure a few things use it that way. So yeah, when I walk around, I'm always really careful not to break any sticks anywhere near the mound, because I'm sure they know every little stick and branch there, and if you snap them out the way, that's their predator alarm. So I'm really conscious of that every time I walk around to make sure not to, make it harder for them. Oh, this one, oh yeah, you look where they're noticing. They know there's something happening there. That's, one was just digging right on top of that spot. I think. is off the trees, and sometimes I try and help them a little bit by obviously move any big sticks or branches and stuff that are right in the way. But sometimes I think that little chick there, like you ran into that little hideout, those ones have been working for the last 5 years on that mound. They seem to be pretty good, successful at what they do. And because they work together, so that little bit of bush you can see there where that chick ran, that's I try and have something like that at other mounds too. Sometimes there's some bush, but a cat will be able to sit there and wait for them. So sometimes I alter that a little bit so that it's more able for them. Oh, this little fat-tailed dunner I've been watching over the years too in the cave. Woodbeggar. Yes, I've been also watching the waterhole at Woodbeggar Rock. There's a waterhole there and plenty of rock holes. So I've been watching them to see what else is in the area. And these ones are from the 10 AM cameras, the adaptive management cameras, which I've been running, even though it's not the protocol with a hybrid setting, so a photo and then a short video, because I realized early on there would be plenty of room to do that. Even the total collection from 4 years of 10 cameras. Oh yeah, that's quite cool, isn't it? Yeah, the total collection's about 35 gigabytes, and that's with all these videos. Just the photos themselves would be less than 2 gigabytes after 4 years. So you get way more. You're doing it again, look. Yeah, and often I've seen there might be nothing in the photo and there's plenty in the video. Sometimes there's only in the photo if they're passing by quick, but often there's plenty, something happened in the video, but it's not captured in the photo. Sometimes the other way. But there's a few little gems. That one's got a little joey there. And that branch fell down there, and of course about 600 photos for that camera. Otherwise, we've done really well on that side of things. We've got maybe half or more of the total photos have an animal in them. So it's not thousands and thousands to look through and find out. We might be fortunate because the bush is fairly open. I managed to find fairly open places there. Some places I'm sure are more thick, so it's not quite so easy to avoid the blank photos. And yeah, when I was setting these up, obviously, like us, if we're walking in the bush and there's a clear path this way and not that way, we're going to probably go that way. So if you want them to pass the cameras, I've been altering a few sticks here and there, so it's at least encouraging traffic that direction, and try to avoid snapping big things out the way, but obviously just make it so that if there's something in that area, he's going to pass your camera rather than just go around it. Because as they're left for so long, it happened to us once. I usually check them more regular than my sites, but I get a little tiny gem like this one here. Even though, yeah, the total info gathered's really quite little out of those cameras. I think there's 50 in the 3.5 years. There's 50 cats around, 50 dingoes, 45 malleefowl. Total sightings on the 10 cameras in 4 years, which is it's not a great deal. So we've got a little bit more from using this style here. And when I'm in the area, I leave them on longer. The movie's a bit longer, but usually it's only 10 or 15, 5, 10, 15 seconds. But when I'm stay there, I leave them on longer because I can afford to do that and check on the cameras. They're sort of fairly accessible with a bit of walk. Yeah, and also a good thing for the movie, you get the sound, whereas you might get a photo with nothing in it. You can hear the birds in the background, that bird made it. So what I've found is pretty often what those knolls are. Sometimes you can see dust rising, so something did pass. Sometimes it's rain or wind can, make it go off. But in the video, you can see that it's been the rain or the wind that made it happen. Yeah, sometimes the animal just goes too fast, and you obviously miss it there. Sometimes, yeah, they're just under it or around it. But also often bats have set them off quite often. Insects. The nightjars obviously flying around, hopping mice, various birds. And I've also noticed like this now, often the photo will have one kangaroo in it, and in the video there's the second one behind them, or there was three in a few, the mum, baby and pup one were all traveling together in one. And like that one too, and the photo would have shown one little one, but the video shows it's a pair together. So, and this was cats mating here. So there was about nine or so cat sightings within 3 or 4 days, which is also interesting when you think the total's only about 45. And if 9 of them happened in 2 days, it's sort of trying to skew the results a little bit with that, unless that's allowed for in the measuring, I'm not sure, but yeah, they were, and the photo showed 2 cats, and that I'm pretty sure that was a mating event. They were rubbing on the camera too. One of them came up to it and rubbed twice on the front of the camera there, getting a bit frisky with it. Yeah, that was the mother, the girl one there. I'm pretty sure that was the subject of the interest. Yeah, it's rubbing on there too. But yeah, I think you just get a lot more information from those short videos, and they don't take up a great deal of room on the SD cards, especially a 5-second one or so. It's not a great deal more than, high quality photo on some other cameras. So yeah, we've got 800 animals total in 3.5 years, sorry, on those 10 cameras, and of them 481 are wallabies, 47 malleefowl, 55 cat, 43 dingo, 74 rabbit, 31 goanna, 14 echidna, 16 currawong, and a few others. This is a horror again. I was just going to remind people and show you what that looked like seismic. I was talking about that yesterday as far as land disturbance goes. This is what's been happening up north, and it also happens in other areas, I know. So I'll just show you that as a reminder. So yeah, that's we've had 800 total, as I said, 1,700 blank ones, and that's on account of that branch fall took up 600 of them. So on average, yeah, we have either half and half or better than half and half of animals versus empty photos, which is good. In one camera, the most active camera of all took got 127 animals here. 20 of them were malleefowl. That's the most active one. That was in the middle of the zone where the sandy part with the good pine trees was. Yeah, could a lot more could be said, and maybe that song video. There's yeah, one of the first mound that Don showed me, from the station showed me. This is from footage from that one. It goes for a little while. If you could turn the sound up. I thought that was the case, but I've seen them doing it when the other one's right there in front of them. They're sitting there singing as well. I thought maybe they're letting the eggs know, talking to the eggs possibly. Not sure. But they're pretty regular with that one, yeah. Someone used to do it almost every morning before his mate arrived. Yeah. So that's something wondering about, sorry to distract me from the song, but is what's being done as far as cats fairly recently been listed as a dangerous feral, finally. So I'm wondering what's being done as far as helping station people to take part in managing them, because there's a lot of focus obviously goes to managing dingoes and throwing poison everywhere for them, whether that's effective or not. But there's not much gets done about a broad scale cat control. And now that they've been listed legally as a dangerous feral, I'm wondering, is that going to mean pastoralists and other landholders are going to have an incentive or a help to do cat control as well? Because that Eradicat bait's very hard to get. Maybe not a lot of people might not want to use that, but yeah, perhaps a bounty, like everything else has had a bounty on its head, hasn't it? But I don't think the cat ever has. Maybe it might be an incentive to, you know, for some people to be more active on hunting them, because some sort of, you know, recompense and help to do that, because it is a vital thing. Everyone knows they're one of the most threatening things to our wildlife. Yeah. Although the bush itself is obviously threatened by other things, which is what the wildlife can't live with the bush itself. So I was really happy to hear the planting work that's going on in different places. I think that's one of the best things we can do immediately, as well as changing farming techniques. I watched a very good show called Kiss the Ground, narrated by Woody Harrelson, all about soil farming and how to do it right and how we do it wrong. That's really worthwhile to watch that one. That seemed to be something else that could have a big effect on the overall health of everything. Yeah. But okay, thank you anyway.
Absolutely wonderful. And the one time I stepped out, you showed the dingoes. So you're going to have to share that with me later, Damien. So that footage was absolutely incredible. Yeah. And the idea of putting a bounty on cats. I like that. Maybe a few cat pelts. Did I say that at a conservation organisation?
Yeah.
But beautiful presentation. A big long coat like the old ways. Oh, that would be amazing. Have we got any questions for Damien? Down the front, Damien.
Damien, some of those images are pretty amazing, and I notice they spend so much of their time scratching. You know, and I'm wondering how do they not wear out their feet? Are there special pads or hardening on the bottom of the feet with all that scratching?
I'm probably not the one to ask there, or to answer that, I mean.
Is there anyone in the room that would like to answer that? Yes? How about that? And then we'll come back to Damien. Can you answer that question?
Yes, they have they have really, really tough feet. Yeah, yes, pretty well, yeah. Soft with sponges like a cat paw, but around that is quite tough, yeah. I can't compare it to any other fowl, sorry, but their legs and their feet are pretty much make up the weight of the bird. They're very light and they're, yeah, very powerful.
Great question. Any other questions in the room? While I'm close to the back. I just want to say, I think, Damien, you take citizen science to the next level. I wish we had more people out there like Damien in every threatened species, or any species really. So if everyone could please put their hands together for Damien.